Here we are again. Just you and me. Where's Janelle? Janelle? I see Ron back there. I don't see Janelle. Well, whenever she gets here, we will be talking about... No, we can start without her. It's fine. We're fine, aren't we? Yeah, we're fine. So, something from Focus on the Family. They covered this study. I hadn't seen anything like this before. Where Pew Research surveyed 130 different countries to find out the single-parent household rate. And long story short, what they discovered is that nearly 1 in 4 children in the U.S. live with a single parent, which is the highest rate in the world. Highest rate in the world. Our percentage is 23%, according to this. Live in single-parent homes. So with that in mind, compare that to Mexico at 7%, Japan 7%, Pakistan 6%, India 5%, Israel 5%, Nigeria 4%, Brazil 10%. We're way up there, comparatively speaking.
I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to. Oh my gosh.
Diva. Hashtag Diva.
I had to use the bathroom.
That's all right. It's allowed. It's fine. We're good. So what we asked in the show, which we'd love to carry on here, maybe you've been in the situation or you are in the situation. With this in mind, we confess that, Janelle and I, our reality is 2-parent household, lots of kids.
Yeah.
So we naturally, just because of our proclivity to our biases and our reality, we end up talking a lot about marriage, parenting of large families. And we try to think about other things, but there's occasions when we just, because it's not our reality, inadvertently and unintentionally neglect some people's different situations. So we'll occasionally get people text us and say, well, what about single parents? And we go, oh, boy, we didn't mean to exclude you. But anyway, we want to know, what do you want us to know about your situation if you're a single parent?
Or if you have family who's single parents too.
Yeah, what do you want us to know about your situation?
I just want to give a shout out to my girls. Callie's like, yeah, she's getting coffee probably. And then Jennifer was like, we need Janelle. Yeah.
I delayed so people could have you in their lives.
That's cool. Hi, Mike. How you doing? And Deborah. Hey. Yes. Can you explain Dave
Deborah,
again?
where's Dave today? Dave texted me. Let me actually quote it to you. David Safransky. He texted me yesterday, I may be a scratch tomorrow. I'm sicker than all get out.
Ooh.
At the doctor now. So we both agreed that it's better for everyone, particularly us, that super sick Dave not show up here today. So Dave's out sick today. Pray for him. He'll be fine. It's nothing catastrophic. He's just sick.
Hey, Myrna. I love when you come.
She was giving me a hard time yesterday.
She
Myrna.
sets you straight.
Yes, she
right.
does. So
That's
what about you?
Need.
Showing up late, Myrna.
Jennifer says, does the study discuss the reason for single parenthood? Some choose it intentionally. Sometimes it's caused by death, etc.
Right. No, Jennifer, it does not disaggregate based on cause, as in they don't separate divorce from widow from even single dad versus single mom. They don't separate those. They just aggregate all of it, that for whatever reason, 23 found that according to Pew Research, almost a quarter of U.S. children under the age of 18 live with one parent and no other adult.
Also, they do specify it. So
Yeah,
even
23%.
in Latin America, then the number is real. It's like
It's a real number.
I thought it was like without the other parent. Like I thought there
Specifically,
was, yeah.
They, under the age of 18 that live with one parent and no other adults.
Okay.
So truly a single parent home.
Yeah.
But honestly, in American context, like that's synonymous.
Yeah.
Like no one's thinking, well, what about the people that have grandma live there?
Yeah.
Nobody's got grandma living there.
Yeah. That
Not in this
usually
culture.
doesn't- Yeah. And to be honest, I don't know if this is going to matter to you, but in this culture with the option, and this doesn't apply to everybody, but the option of like Section 8 and government help, grandma doesn't have to live, like extended family doesn't have to. That's the thing that at least in Latin America, you kind of have to, and it makes it where you got support all in your neighborhood and in your family, in your house.
It's a form of welfare in a sense in countries that don't
Yeah.
provide that from a government. for many years, that's what you would do,
Yeah.
is that as people grew old, they would move in with their children.
Yeah.
And you would sometimes even have brothers and sisters sharing a home.
It's really, it's by need, but when I visited my family and see it, I think it's so cool. Myrna says, "Be quiet, Brian. You're in timeout." Yeah, it's about
I'm in
time.
timeout?
Can you like call during the show? What do you do? Tell them what you do. No, that's not what you do. What did you do to your mom on timeout?
My mom, my mom knew I'd have fun no matter where I was, so she'd make me go up to the corner. Let's pretend this is a corner, and I have to take like 2 steps back and then lean into the corner and go like this. That was my punishment.
Change agent. Woo, look at his name. Says, "Good morning. I normally listen in on my ride to work, but on vacation until January." You're doing better than we are.
Till
And today,
January?
hello, already, like, that don't count. Why does he get this week off? It's not a holiday yet. He says, "I'm on vacation till January, and today is my first time joining in online." Woo!
Hey, wow.
You guys have made my mornings enjoyable since I moved to Cleveland last year, Brian.
I think it's she, silly.
I don't know. I'm
Look
sorry.
at that picture.
How did you know? Oh, the picture. I'm sorry. That's my bad. Oh, yeah, it is. Oh, I like your picture.
Yeah,
And look
thank
at
you.
your family. Look at her family.
First of
I'm
all,
sorry. We're going to stalk you. Look.
Oh, wow, beautiful family.
Cool.
We are jealous that you're off till January, number 1.
Hello. Yes.
Number 2, we love that you took time to hang with us online. Thanks for coming here. Love that you're in the family.
Wait, hold on. Because Jennifer says, "My sister did for years. She lived with my parents until my dad's dementia made it an unsafe environment for my nephew."
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's so admirable, but I think that's the exception, not the rule. I remember people may recognize the name Colin Lambert, was vice president of Moody Radio for many years. And they had a season where his parents and his in-laws lived in their home.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a very uncommon thing in our country, but they were not ready for nursing care yet.
Yeah.
They need a little extra help.
It's uncommon. I wish it was more common. Another thing that you don't see in Latin America as much, this whole thing of like when you're 18, you got to get out. You don't leave until you get married. Like you have older adults, kids living with their parents, and it's great.
I got kids probably never get married then and just keep eating my food.
Oh my God. I told one of my kids were messing around with me. He was like, "No, yeah, I'm going to stay." I was like, "Well, that's good. And you can plan and stay for," he's like, "No, I'm just going to stay. I don't got any plans. I'm just going to be here."
But his presumption is that when he's a grown man, you're going to keep doing his laundry, you're going to keep buying food.
Please, I live with Len. Ain't nobody going to be living in my house getting their laundry done. Deborah says, "When I became a single due to divorce, my church stepped in a big way."
Wow.
That is how it should be. That's the truth.
I'd love to hear more on that.
Cool.
Deborah, I'd love for you to tell us more about what your church did. Because there are churches that, not out of like malicious intent, aren't caring for some single moms in the way they could.
Yeah.
So what did
And
your
a lot
church
of
do?
it could be what you said, lack of knowledge or lack of awareness. So help us with that, Deborah. What did your church do to help you in that season? Taisha, what's up? She says,
wow.
"I know." She's missing Ron. Several
Someone's asking,
people.
where's Ron?
Look, Ron is in the back through the window.
He
Should
normally
we say
closes
hi?
the blinds. Yeah, let's go get him. I'll get him. He normally, he's working. Look at him back there. We're messing around. Will you come in for just a minute, Ron?
Dude,
Please,
he's
Ron.
like working for real. You over here? That's messed up.
He's working. A couple people were like, "Hey, what's Ron doing? Where's Ron? Oh, we need his soothing voice."
Well, here I am. Been slaving away. I forgot to pull the curtains, so you saw me back there. Pay no attention to the man behind the curtains.
Did you want to add anything to the single parent thing? Because your wife was a widow, if I remember correctly,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
Have you guys ever talked about what she went through in that season where she was single mom?
She had a very supportive family. Her mom and dad and sister and brother were very supportive and helpful. And she was plugged in with the church, and they were helpful too. And then some single old fuddy-duddy guy came along and started being helpful too. And then she married him. So yeah, it was difficult. Well, to be totally honest, there's some men who come along and think that because you've been married that you're going to want to be with them, like they're God's gift to women. And they weren't. And she told him so. But
Yeah.
Single moms are facing some of that. And unfortunately, I bet some of it comes from guys at church. And that's shameful. We've had the callers that hit on some really good points about don't feel awkward about inviting them in, because I'm sure the single mom has a sense of feeling awkward too about, like, I can't ask another woman's husband for help on my car because he's another woman's husband. But if that woman would kind of step in and be the go-between and say, hey, how about if my husband comes over and checks out your oil or whatever, that, you know, I heard your car when you pulled out had a knocking and a screech and a whatever, you know, maybe we can help you. So maybe some of that, the other women being the go-between, being the initiator to say, yeah, it's okay if my husband and I, even if you want to go with him for, you know, whether it's to make the single woman feel better, feel more comfortable or whatever.
Yeah.
But I don't want to make it seem awkward, but that it can happen. It can be awkward.
It can be awkward, right, Janelle? I mean, there's isn't there some party that might go, who is this woman that keeps wanting my husband to come around?
It can be depending on the woman.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you're not awkward as a wife, there are times where you could kind of talk to your husband and be like, you know, I'm going to go for this one. It depends on the other woman. Len has a couple of women that he helps. Like a lot of us you don't have to go outside your circle. It's people that are like right around you that you miss, you know, and so he helps her and I don't have to be there. We'll send our boys to go help with things. But more importantly, we welcome her children a lot into our home.
Yeah.
And she doesn't even have to be there. And it's not even about babysitting. A lot of it is join us for dinner or come with us to get the tree. Or there was one time that this little boy, he's like, he loves the family. He talks, I love that. To his mom, he'll go back and be like, man, Mr. Len loves me. Or like, Len will correct him. And he like mentioned it to his mom and was like, but I know that Mr. Len loves me. Mm-hmm. And so one time
is this the true family I know of?
Yes. And the son in particular, he needs it and he loves being around and he talks a lot about Len as a male figure. And one time he was like he was home when we had a family meeting and Len was like, you sit down, you homeschool too. So he was just part of it. Len will not think twice to be like, you're gonna eat what I just told you. And kids need that. So it's not just, oh, we're having fun, join us.
Yeah, here's some ice cream.
Yeah, if you're gonna help, get to the point where you can challenge the children a little bit and kind of help with that, because I think they want it and they need it.
Yeah.
And especially boys from a male role model need it from a man sometimes than from just the mom when it's coming from her.
And you're convicting me on that because you guys are really good about that. And I think that's something that Len has been intentional about.
Len is good, yeah.
It's something I really admire about him. And I've only had one or two little experiences with this, but I remember in Chicago there was a boy a number of doors down, a couple of kids lived with their great-grandmother.
Oh, wow.
It was a really difficult family situation. And they don't even know, like no one's teaching them things. Like I talked to the little boy once and I was like, listen, your great-grandma should not be mowing the lawn.
That's good.
So you come over here and you get my mower, I'm gonna show you how to use it, you gotta go mow your grandma's lawn. Come on. That's what men do.
And I bet you, let's say the great-grandmother was probably told him that. And I think a little boy needs to hear from another man to be like, what are you doing? You know?
And he did it.
Yeah. But what I love is when it's coming from that same man that's loving him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that is so, and I've seen it with Len where I'm like, dude, you just told this kid, when you're in my house, you're going to eat what I give you. But they receive it because they're like, this is the same man that will take me to go get ice cream or.
Right.
Yeah, so we need more of that. Kristen says, I'm a single mom and always have been. Not always easy, but so rewarding. Being part of a single mom's ministry at church helped for a season. God was with us every step of the way, blessing us in so many ways.
That's what church is supposed to be. That's the design of church. I mean, you think about the early church, they were almost, it makes us uncomfortable, but there was an aspect of which they were like a collective community that pooled their money and supported each other. We don't have to go to that extreme anymore necessarily, but Deborah gave us an answer.
Yeah, she says when the guys came to do the electric work in my home, they came together. I was not uncomfortable with that, but it was good to have them both as a precautionary watch.
Sure, yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then there's other ones.
Sarah, there's a reason. Actually, she gave something earlier I wanted to read. Hi, guys. Good morning from, let's just say, she's texting from Ecuador. And she listens.
Still waiting for you to send those tickets for us to come visit you.
Exactly.
Because I'm too cheap to buy myself.
We love you, Sarah. She says, I just wanted to comment that the low percentage from the countries where abortion is perhaps even mandated, like in China, people are going to be careful to only have children within those limits. Also, in Eastern or Middle Eastern countries, divorce is locked down on.
It's looked down on.
Looked down on, I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
So families may stay together, but be dysfunctional in other ways.
It's certainly true. No, there's absolutely truth in that. There are some countries where divorce is so taboo that bad marriages continue. Yeah, I can't argue with that.
Yeah. And then she continues on to say, there's a reason the Bible mentions deacons being married. I fully agree. One of the biblical duties of deacons is to care for single parents within a family context. The married couple ministering to those single parents.
Yeah, because, there's part of me that was wondering, when you look at the description from James, of pure and undefiled religion is this, to care for widows and orphans in their distress. Whatever the cause of being a single parent, aren't single moms essentially widows?
Yeah, dude, I was just thinking about
I think
that.
so,
Yes.
yeah. They may not fit the definition, but they fit the symptoms. The
Yeah, like the
qualifications.
situation. So it may not be that their husband died,
Right.
but nevertheless, like James lifted up those two groups of people, orphans and widows. So essentially orphans and the single mother, single parent, single woman, whatever it is, that needs help. So I know widows might get mad at me for that one, but I feel like it's at least in the zone there where it's
Yeah.
not an exact
Yeah.
parallel, but
Deborah says, when the ex needed to come to the house to get his things done, I had my boys go to a church member's home in case there was going to be trouble with the move. The kids didn't need to see the adult issues, so the family was there for me again.
wow.
Did
Yeah,
we
what a
touch?
great church you belong to, Deborah. That's fantastic.
Did we touch a little bit on people who are listening now and want to help? Let's say there's no ministry, official ministry. You're like, oh, I'll give in this way. It's kind of awkward to just walk up and be like, hey, I've known you for a couple years.
Yeah,
Like
well,
getting over that awkwardness.
and I've learned from some of the calls, it's kind of like, I've talked before about mentorship, and we make it like a junior high girlfriend. And we go, will you be my mentor?
Mm-hmm.
And it's so awkward. Don't ask that.
Sounds like a big commitment.
It sounds like nobody's going to make that commitment.
Yeah.
But what you can do is go, hey, could I buy a coffee? I've got some questions for you about a situation I'm dealing with
Yeah.
right now. That's what a mentor does for you, but now you're not asking for a lifetime commitment.
Right. I just want to ask you a few questions about your business expertise or whatever the area of mentorship you're looking at.
And it may develop into a deep mentorship relationship. But I found in my life, I'm calling someone my mentor in hindsight.
Mhm.
There was never an awkward, define the relationship moment. And I think the same thing can be for the single mother. It's like, hello, I am from your church. Notice you're a single mother. Would you like me to be the man in your children's life?
Yeah, I know.
Don't
I
do that.
know.
No.
But be like, hey, I'm taking my kids to the baseball game. You mind if I bring your son with me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does he want to come? Or, hey, I drove past the house, or, you need any help with lawn care? I got a
What-
trailer, I can bring over my mower, or just offer one thing, right?
Yeah.
And sometimes it doesn't need announcement. Like with Len did that for years. Where if it was snowing, he knows, like, he could just, he would just stop over the person's house and shovel. You know, like, and maybe, I don't know. Because sometimes as Americans we feel like, well, you got to ask. Just shovel. And, and then
That's what
they'll-
Len has done, right?
He does that. But,
because
you
it's
know.
snowing, I'm just going to
this-
go shovel their driveway.
Exactly. He doesn't have to ask or make it a big production. He would just go and shovel the snow.
Because no one tells Len what to do.
Exactly. So maybe that's a special one because it's Len.
But there's so many other things to consider in this, and it's I haven't ever been a single parent, so it's going to sound like inappropriate to say, but I can just gently nudge and say that there is at some point, like if you're a single parent, you need help. You need to ask.
Yeah.
And there are
Now
ways to do it
that
with
can
dignity,
feel awkward, yeah.
and I think the church is a great place for that.
Yeah.
Where you go find your pastor, you go find the elder president or one of the deacons,
Mhm.
and you ask for a private conversation, and you say, this is so embarrassing, but I've just got to tell you, I'm a single mom and I'm really struggling with
Right.
Is there any way that maybe someone could help?
What-
And then there's processes in churches to deal with that. You've served in leadership at church.
Yeah.
Like my church has like this benevolence ministry. There's people who
Right.
have already said, I'm ready to help someone who needs help.
Mm-hmm.
So they can send out anonymous emails. Like there's ways to get help, but you're gonna have to at some point ask for it.
Right. And sometimes this is a roundabout way, but if you make friends with an older lady in the church and you've got that friendship where she knows your needs and all, she will make sure that your needs get met. Because the older women like to boss around people.
Yeah,
And they will do that. They'll
I'm
Right,
resisting
they've earned it.
saying that you.
I am not-
Yeah. I didn't say it.
I have not earned that
I
yet.
said I'm resisting.
But I like that you bring up other women because I think that's where ladies, we can kind of help the awkwardness outside of official ministries. You can approach the single woman and help her with that and ask. Like the guy, it's more awkward for the guy to be like, hey, can I? But you can kind of get an idea on what the needs are and kind of help be the bridge with that.
Yeah.
But I get it. And if you need help, just ask. Callie says, why do you think people are afraid to ask for help? Are they worried it would hurt their pride? Is it being prideful?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it for me. I would rather fumble through a project, smash my thumbs and everything else, but do it myself than to ask someone else, except YouTube, because I'm anonymous on YouTube when I start watching all the videos of how to
Yeah.
do plumbing or
I was just watching one
electricity.
yesterday to learn how to use the router table. And yeah.
I
I'd
know.
rather do that than ask for help. And because, what is it? We will feel embarrassed. Where does
Yeah.
the embarrassment come from? From the fact that you're vulnerable and need help.
Yeah.
And it's also a fear of judgment. For me, when I was having all the kids and they were little, we were already dealing with people saying, why are you having all these kids? So I would not ask for childcare because you're introducing that. Like, why are you in this situation? Like,
Of course
it
you
was,
need help.
Yeah, it was fear of that. And so it's in your mind. So I know it may not, maybe that is pride, but I kind of can sympathize where sometimes people feel afraid to get judged. And maybe people on our side can help with that, and we can extend it first. Eva says, I was a single parent for the first 16 years, but I lived with my parents for the first 8. They were tremendous help with watching my daughter while I worked and continued school. Then I had my male friends who stepped in as male role models.
That's great.
That's cool.
Yeah, and praise God for those grandparents out there that step it up like that.
Callie says, I'm guilty as charged with asking for help, especially when it comes to helping me with my 3 kids. I feel like it's my responsibility to do it on my own since I'm the one who stays home with them.
But you
That
know,
could be some of what single moms feel too, though.
yeah, it could be, but I think we always have to be reminded that we got to look for the gospel everywhere, and in the gospel in this, the fundamental truth of the gospel is, in order for us to receive salvation, we have to admit that we need it.
Yeah, we're sinners.
Yeah, it's that shameful experience of confessing and repenting that you are a sinner and you've offended God and you need help.
And we're like we discussed earlier, we're like the Pharisees who look around and say, I'm glad I'm not like these people. But we are afraid to look back at ourselves and say, I'm pretty bad myself.
And she brought that up, Janelle brought that up in Luke 18 today, where there's that parable we often don't talk about, the Pharisee and the tax collector. And the tax collector was the one who wouldn't even look up when he was like, oh, Lord, forgive me. But he was willing to admit it. And so there is this thing of, like, as part of the Christian life, we're supposed to wear our problems on our sleeve
Yeah,
and admit when we need things.
yeah, that we're dependent.
And I think Mike brought up something interesting too, where he said, on the other hand, he said something earlier where he's like, sometimes people don't know that someone needs help. On the other hand, if someone would be willing to help someone, like, they don't know who to help, and I think that's where you just go to your pastor or somebody and go, hey, I've got some skills I'm willing to donate to people in need in the church. Even if it's just labor, or if it's, I'm an electrician, or I know electricals, like, or whatever it is. Say, hey, I'm available. If anyone ever comes to you with a need, I'm available.
So then what do you think about this comment? Somebody texted and said, I want people to know that a single parent, if single because of recent divorce, is dealing with twice the load on one half the strength due to dealing with heartbreak, financial problems, moving, anger and confusion in children, anger in spouse, or whatever's going on in her situation. She needs someone to talk to, and sometimes the biggest thing is financial. But then she says, also, when possible, Anonymous giving is best because they don't want to feel funny
agree.
or weird around people who have helped them financially. I was a single mom, so I know how that feels. Extremely grateful, but weird too.
Well, and we were really struggling in Chicago when we got there. We had 3 little babies, and somebody gave us an anonymous Christmas gift once, and all it was I don't know who it was, to this day I have no clue, a stack of gift cards in an envelope in our mailbox. And both Sarah and I were just crying when we got it, because it was exactly what we had needed. There were just some basic things. One was for like Home Depot, one was for like a grocery store. It was like some things where you'd go, there's a variety of needs out there, here's some gift cards.
Yeah.
Where you really can just do it that way. Stack of gift cards, put it in the mailbox with a little note
Yeah.
that says, from Anonymous, we love you, know you're in need.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's cool.
You don't have to get the credit for it. In fact, there's a whole passage we could talk about on that, but it's not about you anyway.
Yeah. Well, this was good, Brian.
Yeah, we're grateful for all of your input on this. Thanks to all the single parents out there who weighed in on this. We're grateful for it. But for now, tomorrow's follow-up Friday, so we got to get out.
Yeah. Come back tomorrow. Hasta luego.